station. The building went up in flames shortly after 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And as Rob Miller reports, local historians are calling its loss significant.
All that was left this morning were the charred remains of a once grand railway station. Built in 1889 by Hiram Walker and Sons, it was first a station for passenger trains.
This station had a separate ladies' waiting area and a separate gentlemen's waiting area. It was a Victorian building. It had a tower, an octagonal tower that passed up through the roof and is not of a standard design station. So
Tetzlaff says the station later became a stop for freight trains of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. For 37 years, Wilf Bondi worked for C&O, his final 25 years as the last station agent at the Leamington station.
I'm a little concerned with our history for our children and grandchildren. This was a historical building. You're not going to see this again anywhere, and it's gone. It's gone forever now.
The fire spoiled the plans of a local restaurateur to disassemble the station and move it to his restaurant. Tetzlaff and local greenhouse owner Joe Colasanti also had a plan to move the station to Colasanti's property in Ruthven.
Just using it for a museum and to preserve one of the nicest train stations left in the country.
And Tetzlaff says now he will redouble his efforts to preserve the last remaining railway station, the 111-year-old structure behind me off of Talbot Street West. And he'll ask Leamington Town Council to give it a heritage designation. Rob Miller, CBC News, Leamington.
Striking healthcare workers took their picket line to Leamington
station in the heart of Leamington after fire swept through it last night. Today, residents visited the site, some to survey what they lost, others to reminisce. Marnie Kagan has more.
That building at the back, I don't know what that is.
Wilfred Bondi has many fond memories of what was called the Pere Marquette station in Leamington. He worked there as a station agent for 25 years.
Produce people, grain elevators, canning companies, lumber companies. We handled all their freight inbound and outbound. Very interesting and good people to work with.
The building that housed those memories went up in flames last night. Built in 1889 by Hiram Walker, the station was unique in its construction and design. Its one distinctive feature was the turret.
this building was in incredibly good shape and could have been easily moved. It was a board and batten structure, so I mean it could have been restored quite readily.
And that was the plan for two Leamington area businessmen. Joe Colasanti wanted to move the station to the eastern end of the Chrysler Greenway, near Ruthven. Now all he has left of his dream are some square-headed nails he pulled from the blackened timbers.
We were going to use it partly for a museum, and I planned on a lot of the train buffs have the train sets they've got sitting in their basement. Would like to put it in there and come out on Sundays and let the next generation see what, what's been going on.
Louis Doramacos owns the waterfront restaurant in Leamington. He'd won the right to relocate the station to his waterfront property and turn it into a market and art gallery.
Just when everything was in place and we were set to move it in early September, it was devastating.
Now nobody can have it.
No, nobody can have it, yeah.
It seems the only decision left to make now is how to clean this mess up. From Leamington's old railway station, Marnie Kagan for News Now.
Quick work by firefighters kept damage.